Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the continuation of Unit 4, the design process. Today we're in Lesson 11, prototype testing. What is prototype testing? Prototype is where we actually build our paper prototypes according to what we would like our app to look like. And the paper prototype helps us pick out the good and the bad and get rid of the stuff that does not work and add to the stuff that maybe to help enhance our app and make it a better app. So the primary purpose of developing the paper prototypes is that they allow for quick testing and iteration before any code is written. This lesson is focused on giving teams a chance to test their paper prototypes before moving to an app lab. Teams develop a plan to test with users before running prototype tests with multiple other students in the class and potentially outside the class. In order to test the paper prototypes, or prototypes we call them, with the users, the students will have to assign roles in the testing process. This is the narrator, the computer, and the observers, as well as have some questions prepared for the user to answer after the test is complete. So our objectives today is to design and run tests that use paper prototypes to gain feedback on a design. It also analyzes users' tests to identify features that should be removed, added, or improved. Okay, so again, our overview is in this lesson, teams test out their paper prototypes with other members of the class. Now, if you are by yourself, you're going to have to do this with maybe a sibling or someone that you can share this with, because you will want to get some results from other people, not just you. So if you are doing this on your own, you're going to have to just bite the bullet and find somebody to actually do the paper prototype with you or the testing with you. As one student role plays as the computer, one narrates, and the rest observe, teams will get immediate feedback on their app designs, which will inform the next version of their app prototypes. All right. So today I'll also have you, I've given you a activity guide, and here's the activity guide. It's down in the bottom underneath the video for this lesson today. But first of all, before we actually get into this portion, I want you to go to the video. There's a video down at the bottom also. It's entitled What's for Lunch? That is an example of how we put together a paper prototype, how we do prototype testing, and how the whole process is run. So go ahead and take the time, watch the video. It's only about 5 or 6 minutes long, and that'll give you an idea of what we're looking for in our prototype testing. All right. So I'll give you a few minutes. Go ahead and do that. See, it does pay to have a few people in your group, doesn't it? When you have that many people, you can have a narrator and a computer and observers. Usually it looks like they had more than one observer. And that those people can take notes and kind of draw conclusions based on what they saw from what was going on. So here's our activity guide. Your group will be testing the paper prototype of your app on other members in your classroom and potentially users outside the class. In order to get the best feedback possible, you'll be assigning different roles in the process so that we'll have some team members run the simulation, the others just focus on writing feedback. Assigning roles for testing, decide who on your team will have each of the following roles for the test. You will switch roles between tests. Okay, so first you need a narrator, that's the person running the test. Then you need the computer, that's the person manipulating the low fidelity prototype based on what the user is doing. In other words, your paper prototype. And the observers are people that watch the interaction and write down in their notes what they see the user do in response to the computer. Okay, identify users, decide who in your classroom will be your user of your app. If you do not, if you like, you can also run the test with people outside the classroom who might take part in the target audience of your app. Okay, so that's a good idea too. If your app's for somebody special, maybe use those people. Somebody in your classroom that may be or may have some kind of something to do with your app that you're building. And that would be a great way to see some insight from an actual user who will be using your app. Create and run test cases on the next sheet. You'll find the test cases sheet you'll use to run and record your test. Summarize findings. Once you've run your tests, record the most important findings and or changes you found in your test. All right. So here it is. User said and did, and what it means. Okay. So what did the user ask you to do? when you went through your paper prototype. Much like the video, you just put your paper out there, put your home page first, and then have your user go through and see how they navigate the pages. See if it's easy to navigate, see if it's hard to navigate. Look for things that were very positive, but also keep track of the things that are negative. If there are things that negative that um, don't exactly work like they should, or maybe they don't work like you wanted to, then those are the things that you need to adjust on. So um, keep notes of that. Have your observers make sure they keep notes. Now, again, if you are working by yourself, this makes it very tough. You can pretend you're the narrator, you can pretend you're the user, and then write notes as you go. That would be a very last case scenario. I mean, it's very possible that you might have to do that, but try and get somebody to help you out. It really does help in the testing process. All right. So keep track of all your notes here and use those as you go through your test. Okay, now what I want you to do is create tasks. What you're going to do in this kind of situation is you're going to create tasks that you'd like your user to do. So fill in the left column of the table with different common tasks your user will want to do with your app. Something like, okay, let's say for instance, let's jump back to our paper prototype for our Text Your Grandkids. Let's put in the task column. Let's say, for instance, I want to go from, or I want you, the user, to go from the home page to the setting page. Okay, so write that in the task column and then watch how they would get to the settings page. Now remember, Text Your Grandkids, in order to get to the setting page, they had to go clear over to Suzette, to the LOL page, down to the definition page, and then to the setting page. It wasn't just a straight shot to settings. So, or they could have gone to help and then gone to settings. That was a shortcut, but it still took 2 pages. Could you go from the home page to the setting page? I mean, that's another way to look at it. So what I want you to do is go ahead and set up some tasks for these people. I'll go ahead and read the instructions. Ask the user to try to complete a task listed in the table. So make up some tasks. As the computer, only use pieces of interaction included on the navigation diagram to move around the app. So make sure you use your paper prototype app. Use the navigation bars that you have, and hopefully you have a navigation page set up so that you can see what will work and what won't work. Don't explain how the app works to your user. Don't tell them what you want to see them do. Just give them a task. Let them do it and follow along as they navigate through it. The user can and should think out loud. Okay, you want to take notes. Have the user explain what they're thinking, tell you what they're thinking, and take notes of it so that you can make sure you have some good data. Record anything you notice the user try or say during the test. Okay, record your findings. What did the user try? What did they try that didn't work? And what was their reaction? You really want to look at their reaction. Was their reaction so that they were ready to leave your app or dump your app, or did they love it? Is this the kind of thing that they loved your app and they want to pass it on to everybody else? That is the reaction you're looking for. Okay, switch roles. Once the user is done with the task, switch roles. If you have enough people in your classroom or around you, you become the user, somebody else becomes the narrator, and so on. And do the same thing. Keep notes of the same type of reactions. Your reactions may be different from somebody else's in your classroom. So you want to do that. The more testing you have, the better your results are and the better conclusions you'll be able to draw for your app. All right. So that pretty much concludes testing our app, testing the paper prototype for our app. And I hope you enjoyed it. It's an easy way to get information about what you need to improve on your app. So I will see you in the next lesson on 12. All right. Have a good day.